Well, the first record I ever bought was You Better You Bet by The Who, and everything that I loved then about that record I still love. It's got this typical Who energy and fantastic melodic chords and harmonies that I love particularly love the combination of that. So definitely still a fan of that. Also Abacab by Genesis, same thing. There's nothing that quite sounds like that. Incredible drumming, and again great melody and harmony. Purely from a guitar standpoint, I have to say, just the people that everybody listens to. I got introduced at a pretty early age to Hendrix, Santana, David Gilmour, Robert Fripp, Andy Summers, Eddie Van Halen, and those people pretty much stuck with me through my 32 years of guitar playing. So definitely still a fan, yeah.
What gives you authority to show me what I really need? Something that I will believe, even when it looks way too easy.
I'm not really entirely sure what all the current trends are. Although if something does become a trend, then I usually seem to be backing away from it. On the other hand, I do get a sense of a lot more being possible now. People's ears may be a little bit more open to all kinds of combinations of styles and genres, which is great for me because my record is full of lead guitar, but also in a completely different context. You know, it's really pop, and it's full of synthesizers, and it rocks, and it's a kind of a combination of things that a few years ago may have been more difficult for people to get into. The other thing is really the evolution of technology, which is always a big factor in a state of pop music. On one hand, it's fantastic. You know, everybody can make an album in their bedroom, basically, and videos and whatever you want to do. A lot of things are possible creatively for a tiny bit of money. I don't think everybody should do those things, but anyway, the other thing with technology is, of course, that you really don't need a lot of talent or performance skills or a lot of character to make something that sounds kind of professional. So that's the downside of it. Through my work as a teacher at the Conservatory of Pop Music in Amsterdam, I see so many talented people. We got so many great bands really doing great work on the scene in Holland. So I see it's really healthy. It's just that there's so much out there. It's sometimes a little hard to find things, but I know it's alive and well. Although we share a lot of the same influences, he is even more groove oriented than I am. He's just incredible at coming up with great drum parts, great synthesizer parts, and it just never sounds dated. It always sounds in some way futuristic to me. And the biggest thing that I learned from it is the amount of room there is for lead guitar and my types of vocals and harmonies. If the mix isn't cluttered with big guitar riffs left and right, you know, it's really hard to make anything sound big if it's full of big heavy guitar riffs. So that function is basically taken over by lots of synthesizers, and it works incredibly. So yeah, I think the interest and the taste for it was always there, but it's come to life to a much greater extent through Buzz.
Are you built to take the heat? That it has to be you, obviously.
Well, if you book me, I will come, and I certainly consider myself invited. But there's no specific dates yet, but any excuse and I'll come over, definitely.
You're the factor that set my life from black and white to Technicolor. Much too much surprise that turned out to be a whole world left to discover.
When I was around 12, Purple Rain came out, and both the movie and the soundtrack had a huge influence on me. Just the whole sense of adventure, and just the combination of electronica and very raw vocals and very raw guitars, and amazing songwriting, and just an incredible variety of stuff. You know, there's almost anything you can think of is on that record, and it sold insane amounts. So that's basically what I still think a record should be, is a lot of stuff instead of one idea, which could also work, but it's a personal, that's something that stayed with me. So I hope he appreciates that we took that philosophy and that attitude, and just knowing that he passed it on.
What gives you authority? What it takes to make me see? When you throw around your expertise, have you got the stuff to convince me? Just remember, we've seen a lot before. So be careful what you take with you when you are walking through the door. What can you do that's fantastic? Change the static and not just automatic. Can you say the same thing better in a way that matters? And pull this world together.
The funny thing is that in previous bands, band situations, or the things that had band names, I was usually the one that came up with most of the parts for people to play and making all the general decisions. So it's slightly ironic that this first solo album now is much more of a collaboration in terms of all the musical parts and arrangements and production and everything. So that's all the other stuff is really new to me, and I actually like it. It keeps me more focused. You can't hide behind the idea of a band and expect other people to do stuff. You know, so I love it actually. Keeps me on my toes. My involvement actually a lot more to do with introducing Max to certain types of movies, like Beyond the Black Rainbow or The Man Who Fell to Earth, and we just hung out and decided early on that it had to be futuristic or sci-fi in some way that budget would allow. And he just ran with it and basically came up with the whole thing. So my involvement was really much more about what I like in movies and showing him what I wanted to do than the actual storyline, which he came back a few weeks later with the whole thing scripted and planned out. It was great. He's great to work with because Max is a really accomplished guitar player himself. So he edits in a really musical way, and he obviously understands what playing guitar is and how it should be, how to make the guitar an actual character in the video, all of which he did. As for the scuba masks, the real meaning behind that is we'll have to wait for Max to tell us that. So if I told you, I'd have to
What gives you authority?